Good morning, students. We are back again at uh, English class for the second years. And yesterday we finished the non-verbal data and the advertisement, how to go about answering the comprehension passages. In comprehension passages, especially the unseen passages, there is a slight twist. You have to skim through the passage before you check the answer from the question and the answer. But regarding non-verbal data and advertisements, it's clear-cut. All the answers are direct questions. And like I said, there was a slight one slide was not clear. In case during your exam in the paper, if it is the advertisement or non-verbal data is not clear, you can always approach the invigilator. Don't hesitate. No doubt there is a choice. In the choice, it's not needed, but whatever it is better that you write all the answers. Like I said, there are chances of sometimes you missing a mark. Now today, shall we go on to note making? Note making, the word itself tells you what it is. Making notes. Anyway, before that, I want to give you a few, shall I say, GK information. Most of you know about it, but whatever, there are some things that you don't know, like maybe you know who a typist is. You may not be knowing about the stenographer. Nowadays, we don't have a stenographer. You may not know what a telegram is, what a trunk call is. This was way back during maybe your grandparents' time. But whatever it is, you should know how the science and technology has taken leaps and bounds and made your life very, very easy and comfortable. In olden days, it was not the same. Like people lived a nomadic life because they were dependent on the things available. The fruits from the trees, the roots and everything. They used to eat everything raw. They never grew things. They never had houses. They lived in caves or on the trees. And even if they killed an animal, they ate the flesh raw. How did they started cooking? It was by accident. Anything is by accident. You learn. Like to light a fire, initially, whenever they were cold, they used to huddle together and everything. Later on, they started igniting fire by taking two stones and rubbing against it. And when they were eating food in front of the fire, the meat accidentally fell into the fire. And they realized the taste of the burnt meat was much better than the raw meat. And it was tender. Previously, they had to, naturally, you know, raw meat is very tough to eat. You had to tear in with your front teeth and chew them very hard. You couldn't swallow the raw this. And when they noticed, when it fell into the fire and they noticed the meat was cooked, it was tender. Like that, gradually changes took place. Likewise, with the discovery of the wheel, also transportation started. So through the ages, changes have been made. Likewise, initially, males any, during the reign of the kings, it was the messenger who carried messages from one place to the other. It was always on a horseback. There was no mailing system. And also, it was handwritten on leaves. The parchment paper used to crumble after a few years. So slowly, this brought about a change. A typist is a person who sits on the typewriter and types. Now, what is a stenographer? A stenographer knows not only typing, but also shorthand. Now, you must have seen many of the the executives call their secretaries and dictate letter. How do they dictate letter? It is fast. They don't wait for the secretary to note down every word that he is speaking. And because they speak very fast, this was initially started shorthand. You had to take a course, pass the exam, plus typing, the speed of your typing and the way you wrote down the shorthand made you get the job of a stenographer. Typist is only a person whose speed is good at typing. But stenographer can usually knows typing plus shorthand. And they were very useful for the post of secretaries and so on. Telegram and trunk call, you ask your grandparents, because at that time, okay, let me explain in brief. When you wanted to send messages, previously, it was not very easy. No one had phones. Phones were mostly found in some general stores or in offices. At home, very, very few people had phones. And when you wanted to message someone, just like it is very easy to send greetings, birthday greetings or wedding anniversaries or wedding wishes to other people, very easy now. But in those days, it was through telegram that wishes or anything needed to be sent, and this was through the post office. Through the post office, they used to send these messages. But these telegrams were very expensive. Each letter, they had to pay for each letter. So it used to be very short and precise. Otherwise, you had to pay a lot of money. So whether it is wishes or if someone was sick on their deathbed, it was sent through you go to the post office and give them the matter. It is sent to that. Now, suppose you have a brother in Delhi and your uncle is sick or your parent is sick. So to come immediately, just 2 words, come, come fast, come immediately, was sent, and this post office would send it to the concerned post office in Delhi, and immediately the postman would bring the telegram. The word in those days was dreaded when the postman came and said, telegram for you. Unless it's your birthday, you know it's wishes. But otherwise, maybe it is some fatal news that you are getting. It was so dreaded in those days when you heard the word telegram. Anyway, trunk call is, like I said, communication through telephone. You had to say your brother in Delhi. Now, how to contact him? It is within your state that you can make calls, but beyond your state, you couldn't make calls. So you had to place a trunk call. The operator in Hyderabad would, when you say, and we would say PP call. PP call is personal call. It goes to that particular person only, and you tell the operator to call up Delhi. So she makes a call, and you have to wait at that place because you don't know when the call will materialize. The operator in the Hyderabad would call up the operator in Delhi, and then the operator in Delhi would contact that particular person, and the line is linked. And you could speak for 3 minutes. After 3 minutes, there is a beep. If you have finished conversing, you end the call. Otherwise, you immediately tell the operator extended for another 3 minutes. So then it is extended for another 3 minutes and you speak. And this, in those days, telegram and trunk calls were, very, very useful, but they were pretty expensive. So these are the changes that have been brought down through the years, children. And note making is nothing to do with it, but I just want to tell you how you have to go about making notes. Notes means, like I just now told you, when even now many people don't know shorthand. It is not necessary now to take down. But when the boss dictates a letter, how does the secretary take it down? She can't take it all word by word, line by line. So she takes the important points, goes back to her seat, and then based on that point, she would elaborate. Just like in colleges during your grandparents' days, we never had ready-made notes. Notes were only supplied to the students nowadays. And that's the reason why y'all are not able to comprehend most of the time, because you are mentally absent in the class. Because you say, oh, the notes are there, you can depend on the notes. But in at least in the 60s, 70s, notes were not given to the students. The students had to take running notes. When the teacher is speaking, they would take down it is known as running notes. Like I said, the main points of a lecture were taken down, and then later on, you sit at the end of the lesson, the teacher would give number of reference books. She would give a list of reference books. Name them 1, 2, 3, at least 4, 5 names of books, and you had to sit in the library and prepare your own notes. And that's the reason why the people in those days, because they prepared their own notes, whatever they learned is remembered even to this day. Because when the lecture is going, they cannot be mentally absent because they have to prepare notes. Otherwise, it would be tough. Just with the list of books, reference books, you cannot prepare your own notes. You have to listen to what the teacher is explaining, and based on that, based on the running notes and based on the reference books, you prepare your own notes. So when someone is giving a lecture, how do you take down notes? Very briefly, the key points are listed out. So in note making, it's the same. A passage is given, a long passage is given. Based on this passage, you have to make notes. And most important is you have to give title. This is very, very, very important. Remember, children, it is very important. A title must be given. Okay? Like, take for example, yesterday I had told you a simple thing. When a teacher gives you some work, she may ask you to write advantages and disadvantages of computer. You write beautifully, mentioning the introduction, the advantages, a paragraph with several points. Then you mention the disadvantages, give lot of points. But a smart girl will draw a table and mention the advantages and disadvantages. Now, just tell me, if you were in the shoes of the examiner, which would you find very easy? At a glance, you understand everything. A table, not a paragraph. I also mentioned that when you want information, you go to the Google. Google gives you a whole lot of information. But do you read everything? No. You just pick and scan through the notes and pick up the important points, just like newspaper. When you get a newspaper, no one is going to read from the first page to the last page. They read the headlines, which headlines interest them. Like if you are a sports person, first thing you turn towards the sports. If you are interested in politics, you read the first page where it deals with politics and so on and so forth. And that is why they write a catching, what do you say, heading, so that it interests you and you read. So in this also note making, first thing you have to give the passage deals with one particular theme. You have to give a title and then break it down into notes. You don't have to write paragraphs. Remember that. Don't write paragraphs. This is very important, children. This point, never write paragraphs. Another important thing is complete sentences should be avoided. should be avoided. What do you mean by complete sentences? You can leave out the auxiliary verbs and everything. You make use of hyphens, commas, or so break it up into point form, children. You can write all this with side headings, but preferably a diagram. Like I told you, an examiner will prefer a diagram than point form. However short you write the points, it's still laborious. While if you draw, it can be a table, tree diagram, flow chart, web diagram, anything. Make use, you can just like title can be centered, then draw some bubble-like things all over, each having related to the, sorry children, my drawings are not good, but what I'm trying to say is, at a glance, he comes to know what it deals with. This is better than writing it in points. So I hope you have understood how to, it is very easy, children. Though the passage is long, lengthy, it is from your textbook. If you have practiced all, the moment you see, you get an idea, immediately you should think of practice it with diagrams. Points also can be written. Those who are slow learners, if you want to write points, you can write. I'm not saying this is for students who are writing betterment. Like I told you, if you impress the examiner, this comes under descriptive writing and you will not get 4 marks. But always remember, diagrams are very interesting. They are not only interesting, but if drawn well, it impresses them. And this is what you should do to get full 4 marks. So those who are writing betterment, I would suggest you to always go in for a diagram, because you can end up getting full 4 marks for that. And those who are writing supplementary, if you can draw a diagram, well and good. Otherwise, you can always break it up into points and write. But never forget to write the title. Title carries marks. The moment they see there's no title, marks are deducted. So please keep this in mind and do it. So with this, I think we have completed most of your grammar. We have The only thing that we haven't done is vocabulary and idioms. Lucky for you, idioms previously, the children had to construct their own sentences. But from last year, it comes as fill in the blanks, and you have to choose the right appropriate idiom. So it is very easy, children. Day by day, we are really spoon feeding you. So make use of it, children. Use the idioms appropriately. For that, you should know the meaning of the idiom. Vocabulary also comes as match the following. So if you know the meaning, you can easily match them. There's nothing that I need to teach you in vocabulary and idioms. You should understand the meaning. Anytime you find any hindrance, you are not able to understand, you can always put in your comments in the comment box, and I will get back to you and explain it to you. Now, with this, we have finished the portion, and I would like to go back to teaching grammar again from the start. This time, let's hope I'll go a little slow for you to understand. So shall we begin with formal letter? Formal letter. In formal letter, like I said, there are three formats: indented, blocked, and fully blocked. Indented format, or otherwise known as the traditional letter. Traditional letter we don't follow now. It has lot of punctuation, some written on the left side, some on the right side, some in the center. Nowadays, we are not following all that, but now everything is written in a straight line on the left-hand side. I said two more. One is blocked and fully blocked. Fully blocked, everything is on the left side, but in block, the date is on the right side. Other than that, the other addresses, salutation, complimentary clause, subject, everything is on the left-hand side in a straight line. So the first thing that I would like to tell you is, it is always better to draw a margin. Because when we write, however well we write, it is slightly not, it does not come in a straight line. There are some space sometimes. Sometimes we begin this way, sometimes slightly it is this way, then we come back here, then slightly we go offline. So in this way, to avoid it, it is always better to write it, draw a margin and write on the left-hand side close to the margin. Now, last time when I gave the to address, I'd explained that it is 4 lines. To address consists of 4 lines. First is the name, house number, then the street and city. I did not explain to you that when you write to the principal, the 2 addresses change. You don't write your house address. It is only if you are a former student. Now, suppose you are applying for a your TC, bona fide and conduct certificate, you are no longer studying in that college. So you cannot call yourself, you cannot give your college address, but you give your house address because you are former student of that school or college, whatever it is. But if you are studying and you want leave, or you want to ask the principal to open English club or anything related to when you are a student at that particular time, then you have to, the to address changes, sorry, from address changes. Like I said, now we don't write the word from, even though we are writing the from address. Neither from is there, neither is there a comma. You just go on to your name, any fictitious name. And it's better if you write Miss before it, Miss Aisha Banu, by PC, NEET, roll number 8. Though I said no punctuation, roll number are abbreviation. Likewise, Miss is an abbreviation. And that's why you have put then senior inter, or if you have classes like for senior inter, usually you say S11 or S14. It depends from college to college. Whatever section is mentioned over there, you write accordingly. Then MS, okay, sorry. Should I write MS only? Yeah, it's synchronizing. Okay, MS Junior College. Or you can write any other, like I said, fictitious names, fictitious numbers. Who is Aisha Banu? I'm not Aisha Banu. Neither am I studying in BPC NEET, and neither is my roll number 8. Neither my section is senior S11. So all these are fictitious names and fictitious addresses, but they are in other from addresses. I said 4 lines, but here it comes to 6 lines. After this, you have to write your street. Malakpet, Hyderabad. One, two, three, four, five, 6. So this is how you write the address when you address it to the, when the letter is to the principal. Otherwise, it is written as Miss Aisha Banu. Okay, Aisha Begum. House number, you can write any fictitious numbers, children. 1-3-278 bar A. Okay. Then comes the street, maybe Patnam. Hyderabad. This, when you write to when you are writing to the editor or to the publisher or anyone not related to college, you give your house address. And like I said, always make use of fictitious names and fictitious addresses. Long time back when examinations, during the examinations, we were not allowed to write the names because that is informing the examiner who is writing that letter. To keep it anonymous, we were asked to write either XXX or ABC, any such thing, XYZ, for the simple reason to keep your name anonymous. But now you can use fictitious names. We don't write our own name, and that's why names are written. So there are two ways of writing from address. One, this is only when you are addressing the principal. As a present student. Remember, you are not a former student. And this address will be written when you address any other person, when you address to others. Even as former student. So did you understand, children? Remember 4 lines: name, house number, street, city. And when it is the principal, you have to write which course you have taken, your roll number, and whether you belong to senior or junior, and then the name of the college, the street and city. And that's why it takes 6 lines. Now coming to date, there are only 2 ways of writing dates, which is approved by the IP board. The present format tells us there are only 2 ways of writing date. One is today is 2nd June. 2nd June 2023. Or you can write June 2nd, 2023. Because there are some people who do not write the word second. Just June 2nd, 2023. To separate the date from the year, we use the comma here. Though their punctuation is not used in the format, only in this context, we can write. There are many children who use abbreviation like January, September, Feb, all the months except for May, June, July, which is very short. Even March, they write MAR. This is not permitted. You have to spell out the whole thing. Because it is June, I've written the word June here. But suppose it is January 2nd. So I have to write as, or September, spell it out. September 8th, 2023. So date is written in this way. I hope it is clear, children. And not only abbreviation, you cannot even write like 02/06/2023. Why it's not permitted? Because in some foreign countries, this is the month, this is the day. So it will be February 6, 2023, not as 2nd June 2023. To avoid such errors, we have to spell it out. And in English, we do not believe in abbreviation. Now coming to the next point, that is the salutation. Salutation can be written as sir, bar, madam, when you don't know who is in that position, or you can write dear sir, or just dear sir. And if you know it's a lady, it is dear madam. Or you can just say sir. You needn't say dear sir. There are many people who use the word respected. This is unnecessary. You write, you won't be penalized, but it makes an unfavorable impression because respected is only used towards principal and your family members. Parents, so family members, meaning parents, grandparents, elders of your family. So remember, children, this also plays a very important thing. Please do not use the word respected unnecessarily. And another thing, children, after the date is the salutation. In many study materials, there is a mistake. After date comes salutation. And only after salutation comes subject. In some study material, it is written, subject is written before salutation. This is wrong. You must remember it is only after salutation that you have the subject. And subject can be written. Do you know what BIU stands for? BIU. B is bold. I is italics. And U stands for underline. Now, when we are writing, you cannot use the word italics. So it can only be bold or underline. Now, what do you mean by bold? Writing everything in capital letters, and underline, it is written in small letters, but you underline them. When I say small letters, remember the first letter remains a capital letter. Now you're writing to the principal. Request for 5 days leave. Regarding. Another thing, the subject should be, it shouldn't go over a line. If you check in the textbook says only 4 words. But at times you cannot restrict yourself to 4 words, but don't go beyond one line. And the other thing that you should remember is, though I said small letters, the first letter is always a capital letter. This is underlined and the other one is capital letter. Everything should be in capital letter. And another small mistakes made by the children is when they write in capital letters, they dot the I's. It becomes a small letter. Remember, no dotting the I's. Everything should be in capital letter. And remember, it is after the salutation. It can be written only into three ways, but since we cannot write in italics, we keep it to either we underline them or we write in capital letters. Because remember, the executives, the boss are very, very busy people. When they open the letter, first thing they look at is the name and then it is the subject. And that is why you need to highlight it. Either write it in capital letters or underline it. And remember, keep it very precise. No, don't go beyond one line. So till here, I suppose you have understood, children. Now let's go on to the next. The actual matter of the many children, when we ask them, how many lines do you write a letter? They quickly answer 4-5 lines. Actually, they are 3 paragraphs. Whether it is a formal letter or informal letter or a covering letter, the matter, here you can use punctuation, but the most important is the 3 paragraphs. The first paragraph is introduction, where you introduce yourself. Though your name is there in the firm address, you still need to introduce yourself. Next comes a body of the letter, the actual reason of writing the letter. The introduction and conclusion is just 1 or maximum 2 lines. The body of the letter is 4-5 lines or maximum 6 lines. Don't make it lengthy. Like I said, executives are busy people. Keep to the point. But all the points should be mentioned. So a precise body of the letter is needed. And last is conclusion. And the main mistake, like I told you, when it comes to the editor of the letter, his job is only to publish the letter. It's not his job to do whatever request you have put in. It goes to you bring it to the notice of the concerned authorities through the editor. So remember that your wording should be appropriate. Like take, for example, if you are writing an article about the bad conditions of the road, introduction, you start off with Aisha Fatna Banu or whatever it is, Begum, a resident of the street, whether it's Malakpet, Mehdi Patnam, Shali Banda, a resident of this, would request you to publish this article in your paper. That's it. That's your introduction. 2 lines are enough, especially those who are writing supplementary. Please make clear-cut division between the 3 paragraphs. Body of the letter, you can't generalize and say the streets in Medipatnam are very dirty or are in bad condition. You have to specify certain details. It doesn't need lot of imagination. You go around Hyderabad, you'll find many excuses. The roads have been dug up and not filled in, so children playing can fall into the pits. During the rains, potholes are filled with water. So what potholes, stagnant water, immediately it should come to your mind. Stagnant water means breeding ground for mosquitoes and different insects. So naturally foul smell, the garbage overflowing, foul smell, which leads to the health problems, especially the children and the senior citizens. No street light. See, you think, children, just close your mind and think. If this is India, you'll find plenty of street dogs who children are scared to play because sometimes they chase them. They're scared to be bitten. So, kids, okay. They attack children, they kill them. So there are so many things that you can mention. And this should be in the body of the letter. And like I said, conclusion, please don't say, I would be grateful if you look into this matter. It is not the editor's problem to look into this matter. His thing is to bring it to the notice of the concerned authorities. And here, concerned authorities are the GHMC. So I will conclude with this, children. I hope this second time revision of formal letter was more clear and you have got the grasp of it. And I'm sure you can get 4 out of 4 if you present your letter in a proper way. We're following the format. The format is very, very important, children. Keep that in mind. We'll get back tomorrow at the same time. So, thank you. Have a good day.